Somebody's watching.
I think Trees. Hi.
So I had a thought upstairs.
Yeah.
We should do like some working out of kinks after this one
Okay.
because I had an idea about how we could do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so let me just turn on this and make sure that I'm not gonna get a bunch of notifications. And
Yeah, I think my volume. Let me make sure that guy. I got this gun on YouTube just so you know.
okay.
Because all the other ones were filled up, so I figured why not. We'll just see. We'll just splatter it everywhere. And that's a good screen extra, little glancer.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so
Is that light on or off? Better to hear back there.
it doesn't matter.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
All right, so I didn't grab my computer, but you're gonna check comments from yours.
I don't know if mine will work. I will say no.
Okay.
I don't need
Let
it
me
works.
start to grab.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Working out the kinks. Working out the
Right,
kinks.
right.
That's what happens when you have an idea and you just roll with it.
Yeah, like literally a day ago.
That's right.
So,
Yay. Oh, there's the thing I wanted to share in my group, so hold on a second. Sorry,
I'm gonna see if I
guys.
can pull mine out.
Hi,
We're
everyone.
doing okay on time. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're doing good. Oh, that's not the one I want. Where did it go?
Oh, I see somebody is going live.
It did it to me. Hi,
It's gonna watch
guys.
one of us. I'm gonna watch us over here.
Hmm.
I don't have any audio on this guy though.
That option went away. It was there and then it went away. It sings, hello, everyone. Oh, I'm so excited to see so many people joining.
Are they joining? Yeah.
Yay.
I said this is
So we've got a few different cameras going, so we're gonna try to catch comments, but as whenever we're talking, if you have questions or you want us to talk about something in particular, feel free to leave a comment and we will respond to them either when we get toward the end for some Q&A or after we're all done. So I just wanted to say hi to everyone. I am Amy Spencer Youngs. I am a yoga teacher, I'm a life coach, and I'm a writer. And I help women to overcome fear and overwhelm, rewrite the stories they tell themselves, and shift their mindset so that they can live their biggest and best lives. And this is Nancy.
Hi.
This is her brainchild.
Yeah, this is my my little baby in the making. I wanted to start a little TV channel about all the things that inspire me and make me happy, and I have I'm so lucky to have Amy and we're both in this space where we have this little nook of time that we can kind of play with this and take advantage. So this is literally 2 days old, so be gentle. And we're excited. We're super excited. That's why it's only 2 days old, because we made ourselves have one day to prepare so that we wouldn't be completely scattered. So yeah, we're super excited about all this and what's gonna come. And we're basically I think we're gonna do Wednesdays around the same time, and start at the beginning. Amy's gonna start her explaining how to journey into yoga with your body now, and talk about why yoga is good for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess with that, let's get started. I came to yoga about, oh gosh, maybe 12 or 13 years ago now, kind of exploring different ways that I could whip my body into shape, right? I was in a place where I was losing weight and exercising at the gym regularly and wanted to try something different that I knew could strengthen my body, but also that would give me some calm and centeredness. I was going through some shifts in my life. So I found a yoga class in my gym and I joined, and the first thing I noticed when I walked in the room, which I'm sure a lot of us have experienced if you have even been willing to try yoga, is that the people in the room didn't look a lot like me. They were different, right? And part of that was my own self-judgment, but part of it was also the reality of kind of the yoga world, right? And that has begun to shift over the last decade. It's, become a space now that's more inclusive in a lot of places, but you still find resistance, right? There's still people who, classes, studios where it's very homogeneous. It's a lot of thin women, flexible women, white women, and so part of this journey for Nancy and I think is to just try to expand the types of people who can experience yoga, because yoga really is for everybody, right? It's for everybody.
Yes.
And everybody can get benefits from it. If you're not familiar with yoga, yoga is good exercise. It's good for strengthening. It can improve your cardiovascular health. It can strengthen your body and build muscle and tone you.
And mental health.
But it's also good for mental health, right? So it can help you to deal with stress and anxiety. It helps with the mind-body connection, so it can help you with self-love and self-care. It can improve your breathing. A lot of yoga is connecting movement with breath, and so there's that connection with the parasympathetic nervous system and like getting out of that stress, fight or flight response and more into the settled, calm, relaxing space. And so that is, flexibility. There are so many benefits to yoga, and it's not just about twisting the circles up in the pretzels, touching your toes, right? Everybody, no matter what your size, your ability, your age, your race, your gender, it is
or
good
physical
for you.
limitations even,
Right.
because there's so many different ways to work it out, like even if you can't stand.
Yes.
Like Amy teaches chair yoga, so
Yeah.
like there's so many ways to make this practice work for you where you are right now.
Right.
So
Right, and so if you're watching and you have experience with yoga, I would love to just have you leave a comment and tell us kind of what your experience is. If you are new to yoga, maybe ask a question or just let us know you're a newbie and we should start at the beginning. And if you're joining us and you've been in a yoga practice for a long time, I'd love to hear kind of how yoga helps you in your life, sharing with the community so that we can kind of share that love and let other people know that it's not just about being flexible. It's not just about twisting and turning. Hi everyone, hi Liz, hi Charlotte. Just checking on some comments. So one of the things we want to do today is talk about some basic poses and sequences that you can use in your daily practice, or weekly practice, or just general practice, right? Whenever you get a chance to get on your mat. If you have a few poses that you're comfortable with, that you have modifications for if you need them, and that you know how to do safely, and can benefit you, then whenever you have a few moments, whether you are on your mat or waiting in line at the grocery store or cooking dinner, you can take some time to take a few breaths and move your body. No, you're okay. So the warrior poses are always a great place to start, and I thought that we would just demonstrate a couple of those, and then I can show you a flow that you can do with a couple of the warrior poses.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about sun salutations and how we can use those.
Okay.
All right, so let's stand up. So if you are in a space where you can do this with us, you're welcome to do that. If you want to just watch and learn, you're welcome to do that too.
Yeah, you don't need a mat.
No, you definitely don't need a mat, but you do need a surface that's not too slippery. So for warrior one, we're going to start here. Our feet are flat on the floor, about hips width apart. And then we're going to step the left foot back. So I'm going to, it's probably going to look, it might look right to you, I'm not quite sure, but I'm stepping my left foot back. Right foot is planted, right knee is bent over the right ankle. And the hips are as square to the top of your mat or square to whatever you're facing as is possible. So that back foot is at an angle. Some people have it at more of an angle than others. It depends on the structure of your hips and how tight your hips might be. and that front knee is bent as much as is comfortable for you. So you want to keep the knee over the ankle, but if you can widen your stance enough that you can drop a little deeper and get that thigh a little more parallel to the floor while still keeping your hips square, and then we're going to bring the arms up to frame the ears. And we're going to breathe here. So one of the questions that Nancy has asked me and other people have asked me is, how long do you hold a yoga pose? And the answer is always, it depends. So if you are working on strengthening and connecting with your breath, a good key to how many poses might be or how many breaths might be maybe 5 to 8 breaths, depending on your abilities, right? Your strength, what you really want to get out of it, how much you want to connect to the breath. So you just take 5 breaths or so, around 5 breaths. If you are if you're, say, doing a restorative pose or a relaxing pose, a stretch, you might want to stay in that for as long as 10 or 12 breaths. And if you're doing more of a vigorous practice where you're trying to get your heart rate up, you want to move a little bit more quickly, you're going to do one movement with 1 breath, and we'll talk about that when we do a flow. So I've been talking, I haven't been counting breaths, but I think that's probably enough. So we're going to go ahead and bring the hands to the heart center, palms together, and then we're going to step the feet together using the strength of the front leg. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to step the right foot back, find that stance, however wide you need to feel stable. So if you have balance issues, you might even need to take your feet more toward the edges of the mat to find that stability, right? To find that stable stance. And then you're going to bend that front knee over the front ankle if it's not already, and bring the arms up again.
This is always where life gets fun for me, because this leg and we haven't learned balance yet.
Right.
So if I'm wobbly, it's just because I'm wobbly. And on this side.
Right, and you just keep working at it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of my students are like, well, I don't have balance on that side, or I don't, I'm not as strong on that side. We're not. We're imperfect creatures, right? We're different on each side. We hold our weight on one side more than the other usually. That means that we are stronger on one side than we are on the other. And so yoga helps us to find that balance in our strength. It helps us to practice balance even when we're a little off balance. It's the little life lessons as we practice. So you're going to just take, 5 breaths or so here, really pressing into the feet, pushing away from the floor. So the legs are really engaged, the shoulders are relaxed, the torso is nice and tall. And then we're going to exhale the hands to the heart and step the feet together at the top of the mat. So that's warrior 1. And generally, whatever you do on one side, you want to do on the other, right? We're trying to equal out the strength.
Keep your body balanced.
Right, keep your body balanced. So the next pose we're going to do is warrior 2. This one is similar, but different. So we're going to we'll start with the left foot back again. And this time, the feet are going to be in a bit of a straight line. So the arch of the back foot, you want in line with the heel of the front foot. And you want to have a wide enough stance that the front knee stays over the front ankle. So you're bending that front knee as deeply or as shallowly, I guess, as you choose, right? This is going to require some strength in that front leg. And you want the hips to be open to the long edge of your mat or the side wall if you're not on a mat. So trying to keep the shoulders stacked over the hips. Right, the abdominal muscles are pulled in a bit, so we're protecting the low back here, lengthening the low back. And that front knee is pressing toward the pinky toe side of the foot. So if you're tight in your inner thigh muscles, if you're weak in the front thigh, your tendency is to let that knee fold in a little bit toward the midline, and you want to make sure that you're pressing it toward the outer edge so that you're really using the strength of that leg. And then the arms come up to shoulder height and you gaze over those front fingertips. We're just gonna hold here for a couple of breaths. And the breath is your breath, right? So some people at this point might be feeling a little strained, and so their breath might be coming more quickly. That's fine, that's the length of your breath. So you hold the breath, or you hold the pose for 5 of your breaths.
And 5 is a good number, but my number is 3 because I can't hold poses. So just as like,
Right.
just as for my own personal admin practice, this is too long, and I'm like, now I'm like doing other things. So like you make it to where you're comfortable, you know,
Right.
like you shape it to where like 5 is a great number, and I feel like that's way better than probably what most people start at. But
Right.
for me, I'm like, you know, attention span of a gnat.
Yeah, so, right, when I say 5, like maybe that's 3 for you, maybe it's 8
Yeah.
for somebody else, right? So it's 5 is kind of a guideline, it's a
Yeah.
range. You do what feels good in your body, and you start where you are. So we're gonna do the other side, and I'll keep talking, but we're gonna step the right foot back, find that same alignment with the front heel in line with the back arch. Find the hips square to the side wall, that front knee pressing toward the pinky toe, and the arms come up. So yoga is an individual practice. It's not a competitive practice as much as you might feel competitive when we're in a group yoga class. It's not a sport, right? It is a practice, and that means that it's meant to help you connect, not just to strengthen your body or become flexible, but to connect with your breath and your body and your mind, so that all of that yoga means union, and it's about bringing all of those things together. So when you're practicing, if your mind starts to wander after 3 breaths, if you can't stay focused, if you're feeling uncomfortable to the point of pain or like severe discomfort, then you want to change something. So maybe that's changing the pose, maybe it's shifting in the pose, maybe it's finding a different way to do the pose. And we're going to talk about some modifications in a little bit. So let's go ahead and bring the hands together, feet together. Good, and then we're going to go back to the other side. So we're going to step the left foot back, get in line like you would be doing Warrior 2. So legs are just like we have them for Warrior 2, and then we're going to bring the arms up, starting in Warrior 2. And we're going to take extended side angle. So for this pose, we're going to take the front forearm and just rest it gently on the top of that front thigh. So make sure the torso is nice and long, and you're bringing the front forearm to the top of the front thigh, but we're not dropping into it. We're keeping the torso lifted so you can lift that arm, and you're using the strength of your side body. And then you're going to bring that back arm up overhead so the fingertips reach past the front toes. And then we're going to shift just a little bit so that this front shoulder, the top shoulder, opens up a bit. So you're opening the chest and gazing up toward the ceiling, or towards your arm, I guess, because your arm should be there. And we're just breathing here. So in this pose, we're lengthening the, right? We're lengthening the outside of that left leg all the way up through those fingertips. And we're strengthening the front leg and building our core muscles. Let's switch sides. We're going to do it on the other side. It won't make you hold it for too long.
She's a teacher. She's stronger
Yeah.
at these things than I am.
Yes. So I'm used to holding them for a long time.
I know, I'm stuck. Like, this is just
You're doing fine.
Oh my God! Please hurry, I'm 17. So
Nancy is a flow girl. She likes to move through her poses, right? So we'll do that in just a second. I'm setting you guys up. So we're gonna take that front forearm, place it on that front thigh, sweep the back arm up overhead, reach to those fingertips, and then shift that torso so you're gazing up. And breathe here. We'll just take a couple breaths. And then we're going to inhale back into Warrior Two, and I'm just going to show you a little flow here. So once you're in Warrior Two, you can exhale into extended side angle, inhale into Warrior Two, and then drop that back arm, bring the right arm, the front arm up overhead for revolved warrior, and then inhale, Warrior Two. So exhale, extended side angle, inhale, Warrior Two, and exhale, revolved warrior. And you can inhale back up, and then we'll step, whoops, right together. So that's just a short flow that you can do. Once you're comfortable with those poses, you just connect them with your breath and you move through them, and that makes it a little bit more, like you get your heart rate up a little bit more. You don't have to worry about holding the poses long.
Yeah.
You can hold
and
the
as
poses.
you learn, like, which ones feel good to your body, you're like, well, now I'm gonna, I don't like, warrior is my least practiced thing. Like, I've only started doing it a little bit because I want to work on goddess, and I just always feel like I'm like, whoa, like, so it's so funny that this was your first one. I did not know this was your first one. I was like, of course it's your first one.
Of course it is.
Like, and then like, you're stronger, so you're holding it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die on my first one.
She's not gonna die.
Not gonna die. I'm just gonna do forward fold. I'll just stay in child's pose because you can always go to child's pose.
Right, you can always go to
That's what my
child's
teacher
pose.
said.
That is true. And with that, why don't we show them child's pose?
Okay.
So for child's pose, you're gonna come down on your hands and knees. And this is a good one to talk about props because if you have knee problems or you're in a bigger body, right? There are different variations that you can
sitting
use.
on your knees too.
Right.
Some people this just isn't comfortable.
Right, right. So there are some different variations that you can do. So you can always take a folded blanket and prop it under your knees if that's where the discomfort is. If it hurts to just be sitting like this on your feet, you can roll the blanket up and put it kind of behind the knees.
You'll probably put a block there too, right?
Yeah. So between kind of the thighs and the calves, so that there's not so much pressure on the heels or the ankles, and not so much compression at the back of the knee. And you can also use a block and at whatever height. So, a block has different heights. You can set that between your calves and then kind of sit down on it however you want, and then gives you a little bit more lift, a little bit more support. So if you're in this position, then to take child's pose, you're just gonna come forward, so hips to heels or as near to heels as possible, and then bring the arms forward. Let the chest drop down toward the mat, the forehead drop down toward the mat. And if you are way up here, like I am because I'm sitting on the block, right, which is totally fine. That's where your body is, right? So we all have different bodies, we all have different shapes, we all have different sizes, we all have different abilities, right? We all have different injuries or whatever. So there are modifications for everything. And if you're ever in a yoga class where you're uncomfortable or you feel like the pose is not working for your body, you can make it work for you. And you can ask your teacher to give you modifications if they aren't already. A lot of teachers are taught some basic props and modifications, and that's great for a general class where people are, capable of moving and are relatively flexible, and that's great. But if you're not one of those people and you go into a yoga class and they're not offering you modifications that work for your body, then you either want to ask them for modifications if you're comfortable with that, or you want to find another teacher who is comfortable giving you modifications without making you feel bad about your body. Because that is an unconscious thing that I have experienced some yoga teachers doing in their classes, not intentionally, not purposefully to hurt me, but because they don't know. They've always lived in their body. They don't know how to teach people in other bodies. So
I love your perspective on that, not to derail you, because my perspective has always been, she looks at my body and she doesn't feel like I belong doing this. So she's gonna give me her shitty attitude because she wants me to put my tail between my legs and take my fat ass out the door. Or whatever it was when said imaginary person I was thinking of is not at all coming to mind in Federal Hill when I was a precious little sweet 20-year-old.
Right.
Yeah, so I like that your perspective is way positive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that just takes like having to shift my perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
of course I was hurt and embarrassed and felt bad about myself because she didn't know how to teach me because I have a different body. So that, you know, and it is what it is. I took that experience, and once I had processed it, I took a training and I learned how to teach myself so that I could teach other people how to do yoga in whatever body you have. And so that's why we're here.
Oh, the block I was passing, because I was thinking if you're in high child's pose, you could also raise the floor a little.
Yeah, I was getting there.
I know. I wasn't trying to like throw blocks at you.
Right,
so.
Oh, you're okay. So, so if you don't want to sit on a block and you want to try bringing your hips to your heels, you can also bring your knees wider. That helps, especially if you have a midsection that might be a little bigger, like I do. And so I'm gonna then lean forward, and that gives you more space to come down a little lower. And if you're still up higher, you can use the block. You can bring it under your chest, and then use another block under your head if you want to, or you can, like Nancy said, lift your arms up. You just want to be careful with that, because if you are flexible in your shoulders and your chest drops too low, that could cause some trouble in your shoulders. So just be aware of
not to be stretching it.
Right, not to be
pressing.
not to be stretching it too much.
Yeah.
It feels good if you're tight.
I was
in
gonna
your
say,
chest.
I feel like I've accidentally stretched that really nicely.
Yeah, no, it's good to stretch it. It's just if you
Yeah.
have like tender shoulders, or you're prone to shoulder injuries, you just want to be aware of that.
That makes sense.
And then I think is like one of the other big things that, you know, I want to express is that when you're practicing yoga, you want to pay attention to your body, right? You want to, we have learned over time, I have learned over time, or I have learned over time, not to pay attention to my body, to ignore my body, to beat it into submission, to push it to the edge, to push it past the edge so that I could see results. And yoga taught me to listen to my body, because if we're not listening to our bodies, we're ignoring signals that our body's trying to tell us.
And it's just not. It's just not a good way to do anything. Like,
Right.
forcing yourself away is just not good.
Right. Right. And so if you're in a yoga pose and you feel discomfort of stretching is good. Pain, sharp sensations, severe discomfort to the point of like clenching is not good. If you are holding your breath or clenching your jaw or tensing up other areas of your body, that's a sign that you are pushing it too far. So just paying attention to your body and what your body is telling you, and doing what feels good, what feels productive, what feels helpful for your body.
A way that I had it explained to me was specifically in Warrior, because I don't do well feeling into that pose, was to just try to go as deep and as, or reach, with my chest open, to where I could breathe so comfortably, like even though I'm trying a little bit, but not like so go to where you're like, okay, this doesn't feel good, and then maybe just, relish in that for 1 second. If it's starting to be like, this does not feel good for my life, but just kind of like right to where it's like, this is just becoming uncomfortable. And then maybe the next time, get a little more uncomfortable, you know what I mean?
Right.
But just feel like you should be able to breathe no matter what we're doing, right? Like,
Right.
And I feel like that was a way for my brain to kind of just understand, oh, okay, now that, that made sense as far as like telling me where I'm going too far or when I need to stop.
Yes, and a good way to kind of, I don't know, demonstrate that. Can you stand up?
Yeah.
So one of the things things that I learned when I first started practicing yoga was that you can use your breath to help you stretch deeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing forward folds, just go ahead and like flop into it. So you're doing a forward fold, your knees maybe are a little bent because you're tight in the hamstrings.
Move it to the side.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it
Okay.
side. So, right, and you can let your hands down, so.
I'm not at all 5.
No, you're fine. So your knees are a little bent, right, but you're breathing. So you're taking a deep inhale, and then in the exhale, you're just allowing yourself to relax a little bit more, and you might be able to straighten the legs just a tiny bit more, right? And then you inhale, and you exhale again, and maybe you begin to relax a little bit more. And what's happening is that if you immediately go into a stretch and you're stretching to your absolute limit immediately, the first thing, you can stand up now. The first thing you
I love
do.
that one.
I
That
know,
one
me
I can
too.
do 20 breaths. Me too.
So the first thing your muscles do when you do that is they tighten, they resist, right? Just like we resist when we're pushed to our edge, right? And so if you relax out of that a little bit, give yourself that little bend in the knee, let yourself kind of relax into it a little bit, use your breath. Then on the next exhale, your muscles are like, okay, I trust you. Let's try this a little bit more. And you go just not quite to the edge, and then you know, every breath you give yourself a little bit of time to let your muscles trust you to relax.
And just like kind of sink into what you're introducing. Like it's just like, okay, like forward fold specifically, like I feel like one day I'm going to be able to fold myself upside down because I'll just sit there and like do wide leg forward fold and just breathe so deep, like my head goes way back there,
Right.
you know, because I'll just like do it until I'm dizzy.
Yeah.
I'm really dizzy.
And then come up slowly.
Yes, slowly.
All right, let's check out some of the questions.
Okay,
See if we have any
okay.
questions.
Yeah.
So we're broadcasting on several different
Yeah.
places. So if
That's
we
our
don't
first
get to
time.
your question, please don't be offended. We will get back to it, I promise. Let's see here. Let me refresh this and check in. And if you have questions now, like if something has come up while we've been talking or demonstrating, please go ahead and post those.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for my guy over here to wake up.
Let's see. Oop. I guess mine are showing. Let me see if I can show. I don't know. It's still live, right?
I think so. It says so over there. Yep, that one is, and that one is, and that one is.
Okay. Well, let's see then.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can change the comments because I feel like it's showing just. Oh, I know what I can do.
Congratulations, ladies. Thanks, CJ. Yeah,
All right, so here we go. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any questions on my feed, but yeah, if you have questions, if you are interested in knowing more, if you want to see us do more of these things, feel free to comment, leave questions. If you're watching the replay, if you didn't get to see us live and you have questions, we'd love to hear them. And we're planning on doing this as a weekly series.
Yes, we're going to be growing into this, like, you know, and building and, you know, trying different methods. Is that different types of yoga? Because, you know, it's not always about movement. Sometimes it is about being still and,
right.
You know.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't get to, I guess we could talk about it a little bit, is kind of yoga for kind of stress, relaxation, anxiety.
Yeah.
We can do a few restorative poses that I love. Restorative yoga is actually one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it doesn't involve much movement at all. It involves kind of propping yourself up and hanging out in a pose for as long as you want, as long as you feel comfortable. And
those are the ones that are really easy to breathe in.
yes.
Yeah, you just,
Yeah. So the first one, I'm going to let Nancy demonstrate, and I'll set her up with some props, but we just showed you child's pose. So this is supported child's pose.
Okay.
And so Nancy's going to get wide-legged, or her knees are going to go wide, and her hips are going toward her heels, and then I'm going to use some blocks and a blanket to create a bolster. If you are a regular yoga practitioner and you have a bolster, you would
have
just
one upstairs too.
put it, kind of tuck it in there and then tuck it in as close as you want it to be. Yep, and then you're gonna just lean forward and use my body in the way there. Have a block for your head, and you can just rest, wrap your arms around. You can even, if you're comfortable, if you've got enough support, you can bring your hands down around your thighs or behind your back, whatever feels comfortable, and just kind of drape yourself.
That really nice.
And then you just close your eyes and you breathe and you focus on the breath.
It's really, you would be surprised how good this is for your back. Like
Yeah.
like right around here, it just feels like, because my body's kind of like splaying over this, all the muscles are just kind of doing this, like just loosening up, and it's so nice. And like if you don't have this kind of shit at home, grab a pillow and roll it up, especially like in bed, watching TV. That's when I love restorative yoga in bed. And the other morning I woke up like, I'm getting up and doing yoga, right? And I woke up and I said, I'm getting up and doing restorative yoga.
Yeah.
I turned my ass around in the bed, put my earphones on, and did legs up the wall for about 7 minutes. And it just like, you know, I accomplished my goal. I said I was getting up and doing yoga. I got up and did my fucking yoga. I feel better. I'm not one of these people that can just jump up and like run.
Right.
So even though it's a vision of mine to get up and just like flow under the freaking sunrise like a goddess, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
So legs up the wall, like, but this, like, you'd be surprised, like, the little difference, like, just propping something under your body, because, you know, when, even if you lay, like, with child's pose, like, you're not getting that, like, support here to just, like, push everything off.
Right.
Yeah, so it's super nice.
Yeah, so that's a good one. And the deep breathing is what's gonna help you. So there's the muscle relaxation, which also helps to kind of relieve the stress. And then there's the deep breathing, which taps into that, you know, parasympathetic nervous system, kind of calms down our, when we're stressed out, we have that fight or flight response, right? Our heart rate rises, our breath gets more shallow, our muscles tense. And so when we're stressed out, we're the exact opposite of relaxed, right? We're the exact opposite of deep breathing.
Right.
So when you get into a pose like this, it's almost inevitable that you will start to breathe more deeply, more slowly. Your muscles will just naturally start to relax, and it turns off that stress response, even if it's just for a few minutes. But it also gives you that cue, right? Like if you are at work and you're stressed out, and you can remember, if I take a few deep breaths, it will calm my
I was
system.
thinking when you said that, how much I love lion's breath and how silly it was to first do it. But like, and the whole relaxing your jaw, like when you're stressed or anxious or, you know, whatever, just like when you're trying to relax, make sure you check in there, because she knows why I probably explain that better than I do, but I know it's like all connected, you know, so like, if you're clenching your jaw, like, as far as I can say without saying, like, proper terminology, like, starting all the way down in your goodies, like, it'll lock up.
You're clenching everything.
You're just literally clenching your whole entire midsection. So you relax your jaw and it starts to relax all the way down to there, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I mean, it's all connected. You wouldn't really believe it, but it is. Like,
That's right.
yeah.
Do you want to demonstrate lion's breath?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, wow. So, oh yeah,
So there are a lot of breathwork practices that are involved in yoga, and we'll cover some of those over like this course of the series. But since Nancy brought up lion's breath, we can practice that one together. And it's probably not something you want to do in the middle of a meeting.
No, you might want to just like run to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Because it does, like if you're doing it right, your face should look crazy, right?
Crazy.
Your eyeballs are exploding in here,
Right.
Like,
Right.
all right.
So yeah, well,
One, two, three?
I'll talk you through it. I'll do it too. I promise I'll do it too. So you start with a deep inhale, right? And then you bug out your eyes and you open your mouth wide and stick your tongue out and you exhale. Right? So it's releasing all that
You
tension.
can't really be fucking taking yourself seriously. Also.
Right. There's that element too, right? Like you're gonna be in the bathroom stall, there's someone
Somehow or
next to
some way
you,
this will
someone
help.
else walking in, whatever, and you are doing lion's breath, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna
Yeah.
release some tension. But there's also like physiological things. When you bug out your eyes and you open your mouth wide, you're loosening your jaw, you're relaxing the muscles in your face. That powerful release of breath is relaxing, it's
Yay,
releasing
Amy's doing it.
tension. Yay! All right, Amy. Hi. Awesome. So let's try it again. Let's try it all together. So hands on your legs. You can close your eyes. Well, no, you want to keep your eyes open for this one. You're going to take a deep inhale. Bug out the eyes. And you can do that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And
It's
then,
very cleansing.
and it's just like, okay, all right, that's done. I can leave that in the bathroom stall.
I mean, maybe
I
if
can
you're
leave it in my bedroom.
in the meeting and you want people to leave you alone, maybe do it. Bust the fucking lion's breath and see if you got friends or foes, right? Because either somebody's gonna like lion's breath Marco Polo you back, or you're just gonna clear the room.
Yes, Amy, teach your boys. Teach them. It's a good stress reliever. It's like, you know, my boys are fighting. Like, that's actually a really good point. You can use it to teach them, you know, a little bit more kind of stress management. So the earlier we teach our kids, the better. So,
Yes.
yeah. All right. So what do you say? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think so. I think we pretty much covered like everything that we were thinking to talk about. Yeah, so if there's any questions or any ideas, if anybody wants to come and, you know, practice with us, you know, let us know. Like, come in. Because I think it's cool to, like, show different people's bodies doing different things.
Yeah.
And, you know, where we are. Like, yeah, just like with balances, I was telling Amy earlier, like, I have, like, hardware in my foot. And there are some things I'm never going to be able to do. And it was like going to yoga initially in a class was really scary for me, which most of my friends know, but like it was finally there that I realized once I got out of my head and my ego that it's not about trying to look like what all the other women are doing or any of them. And now like once I've let that go, now I go in and I'm like, I think I kind of do this better than somebody, you know, and not even because of that, just because like I'm finally sinking into my skin and letting it just be about me and what feels good, and I'm not worrying about what everybody else is doing. And you know, it's really not about that at all. It's not about like I was planning to like put on my cutest yoga outfit today, and this is Mom got the kids out on time for school yoga outfit today, and I took a shower first, which is huge. So you know, like all that stuff is cool, but it doesn't have to be about that. Like there are ways to start doing things at home. If you think of something like Amy, you know, reach out to either of us, you know, for resources or guidance or, you know, questions, you know, at any point, you know. And yeah.
Yeah, just one last thing I want to say is that to kind of go off of what Nancy was saying, I like to think about my yoga mat as like a cocoon, right? It's a safe space. So if I'm in a class or I'm at home practicing yoga, once I step on my mat or on your rug or wherever it is you're practicing, once you step into that space, it's about you. It's not about anything else going on. And as moms, we can testify, right, that there's usually a lot of stuff going on, and you obviously have to be aware of that stuff, but just tuning into what's happening on the mat more than what's happening around you.
And for me, carrying that practice of paying attention to me and not, you know, people that are better at certain poses than me has helped me find calm in the chaos in my home. Like I have stopped yelling as a mom. Like it takes a good minute to get me there now because I've learned how to quiet. And when I'm feeling stress, I kind of like, no, maybe I can't bust out and do yoga when I'm like about to fucking lose it. But I can kind of like quiet my brain and I can try to connect to my breath. I can think about, you know, I can think about what happens on my mat. It's like part of my bubble.
Right.
And I'm so glad you said that because,
yes.
And then, you know, you clear the fucking room. Everything is better. The kids will leave. Everybody will leave. I mean, I feel like that could be a thing.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
really
for
excited
joining
about
us.
all of this, and I'm really excited about what the possibilities. And if you have any ideas, reach out and share, because there is no such thing as a crazy idea to either of us.
Yeah, I mean,
So
all the questions, all the like stories, whatever you
Yeah.
are comfortable sharing, whatever
Yeah,
you want
for
to
sure.
know, let us know, because I really I
Yeah.
hope that we're doing this for a while and that we have plenty of time to help you all
yeah. And I-
explore yoga.
And I like that we're in a couple of different platforms, but if you're feeling like you're not prepared to discuss something on a more public forum, like reach out, like whether
Yeah,
it's in one
message us
group or
or-
another messenger, like you're not going to get shot down, you're not going to get like, nobody's going to make you feel like shit for asking questions
Right.
in this direction. So just to get that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
for this
thank
awesome idea and for
I'm
pushing
so
me to
excited.
step out of my
I'm so
comfort
excited
zone.
about this.
And
Yeah.
thanks to all of you guys for watching and joining in.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Wait, I'm like, which
I know,
one?
now it's like 75 buttons, blank, 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 blank. 45 minutes, wow.
I know, we did.
It's like a show.